I raced motocross and supercross right out of high school. Did that for a few years on a professional level and never really had all the right opportunities. Had some good results, but just couldn't put enough effort into it that I needed to be successful. So took my bikes one weekend and heard about this big off-road race up in Crandon on Labor Day. So I went up there and raced, and one weekend I'm just hanging out there and roaming the pits and checking out the buggies and stuff, and ended up trading one of my dirt bikes for a 1600 buggy. Just took it home and started running around in the fields and trying to figure it all out, and the next year it was full on and snowballed from there.
I guess what got me into racing, I raced in Louisiana, and I was one of those little kids that came from one red light town, and my dad really wasn't interested in racing, so the passion had to come within. I just got to be kind of the #1 guy around here, and I wanted to go see what I could do with the best guys. So I went up north and actually won, got a ride, and the rest is history. I moved west coast and stayed out there for 10 years and raced for Honda, and that's where I got into racing the short course in the Mickey Thompson series. Then I started racing desert to winning championships in the desert and ATVs, and that Mickey Thompson thing crashed, and so it kind of took a void off me for a long time. We basically took off like 8 or 10 years of racing. So I actually moved back to Louisiana and helped my dad with his business. I actually took over that probably 20 years ago. I had this void one day. I was sitting there watching television, and I watched Crandon on TV. And so I told my wife, I said, man, we have got to get back up there. It was just too expensive. I knew I wanted to do it. It was my passion, it was my history. So I went rock crawling. It was something more affordable, and so I went out there. We never really realized we'd go to the top so quick in that, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, golly, if you're gonna be doing this and traveling coast to coast, you might as well do what you love. So that's my passion. That's how I came back to short course off-road racing. And so like I say, the rest is history. When we got back into it, and we started racing pro light and chasing dreams and chasing championships. I think anyone who is truly successful and have several championships has to have it every morning. You're not doing it for someone else, you're doing it for you. You do the winning for yourself, but the whole surroundings of racing has to be family oriented. And to me, for my kids to be right there and share it with me and to be able to be a part of the whole winning experience, it's actually priceless.
They all grew up at the racetrack with our whole family there helping everybody, and I wouldn't change it for a thing, because raising your kids that way, I think they learn a lot of respect and their morals are good, and they just turn out to be good kids.
I started motocross when I was 2.5. Did that till I was 14, traveling the world, running the US, running all the amateur nationals and all that stuff, and I know my dad did pro motocross when he was growing up, so it more started off of that.
The truck racing just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger with TV and sponsors and everything, and gave him the opportunity to try a buggy, and man, he took to that like a fish to water and just figured it out instantly.
My dad got me a super buggy one day, and I came home and it was there. He's like, we're gonna go out to this field and run this thing and see what happens. He
led the whole race, his first race out there, and I don't think I was ever so nervous. I was sitting in the stands just chewing my fingernails off going, I cannot believe this. We pretty much figured from there it was time to really focus on the four-wheel end of it.
We knew, all right, I gotta hang up the dirt bikes for a couple years and make this happen.
Watching Kyle develop, it's kind of one of those deals we never knew. He never really showed any interest.
I really don't think I knew that I really wanted to do it until the first time at a race. He surprised me, he rented a car. He told me that he wasn't going to do it and all this, and I got there and he ended up having it.
That's when I rented that car, the trophy car, and I said, we got to see if we can ignite this, spark.
I got to drive the first trophy car, and then from there it was kind of, the next season he bought me my own, and I did the full season, and it's been just full-blown from there.
It's been really fun watching Kyle develop as a driver, because he doesn't do it like I do it. I have my passion on my sleeve. If I get aggravated or mad, I tell it like it is. But he's just, he could go to a movie or he could start a race. He doesn't have that. And that's what's cool, is when you watch him have his own style. And I've never tried to force him to be like me. I just say, look, here's what I've experienced, and you go make your own call. And I don't ever want him to be like me, because he's limited to me. And I want him to take, whether it's Rob Mack, Johnny, or any of these other guys. And you just take different motorsports and you look at those guys and what makes those guys successful, and you just feed off of them.
I have my dad on the radio. That's a huge advantage, because he's been there and done that, and most situations that I get myself into, he's already kind of dealt with it, and some things you do have to learn on your own, but when you can try to learn from him and let him tell you what works and don't work, and just being able to trust him because he has the results to back it up, so you know he knows what he's talking about, and it's just been huge for me.
I mean, my dad and I are definitely very close. Everything we do, we're trying to learn something from each other the whole time, and it's really cool to be able to have that, and watching him growing up and the way he drives, and to now me having the complete opposite driving style as him.
He's doing something on the track almost every time he's out there that baffles me, because in the Pro 4, a lot of us all drive them very similar, and he's kind of adapted a different style to driving those things where you back it in so hard, you come to the point where you're kind of at a stall before you go forward again. And he's figured out a way to overcome that, and just the thing that impresses me more than anything is the way he makes passes and comes through traffic and hardly ever touches anybody. Very rarely does he make contact or enough contact that it even knocks off a body panel. And when you see him in the cup race come from last and past 20 guys to win, and the truck looks perfect on the podium, it's like, how did he do that? You know, I got to pass 5 guys and I destroy my truck.
I'm more precise. I want to have a point picked out and have my truck there every lap, or each corner I got a spot that it wants to be, where he comes in as like, I don't know, wide open as fast as I can come in it and throw it as hard as I can and still make the corner. That seems good. It's almost like a road racing driving style compared to a drift car driving style.
He spent a lot of years watching me do a lot of dumb stuff and wreck equipment, and I don't think about second or third or that's all I got that day. I think if I can't win, I'm gonna die trying. He's fortunate enough to be able to learn from my mistakes and adapt his driving style to winning.
I think he really appreciates everything I say to try to help him go faster, and I appreciate everything he says and does to help me go faster. I mean, as a team, we want both trucks to be up front and not have to worry about anyone but each other, and being able to put on a good race for ourselves and our team and our sponsors and everything like that. And I mean, if he's beating me in a corner, somebody better tell me where he's beating me, because we can't be having that. And I think he feels the same way.
When CJ and I are on the track now in the Pro 4, and him and I can get clear and just have one of these all-out battles, I'm honestly not even thinking about the end of the race or the win or anything. I'm just thinking about how much fun it is to be able to race with your kid as hard as I can. I'm giving it everything he got, he's giving it everything he's got, and we're racing inches off each other and racing clean. And someday I won't be doing this anymore, and I want to remember these all-out brawls with CJ. It's just a great feeling.
Kyle and I really have a good relationship, and like I say, we work together every day, and then we prep cars together, we race together. So our experience is completely different than I think a lot of teams out there.
We have to kind of squeeze our efforts into, after work in the evenings and on the weekends. And he's always told me you win on Monday, not on Sunday. It's so much more than just being the fastest guy on race weekend. It's all the effort you put into it, all the time working on the vehicles, and just leading up to the moment, doing your homework, studying, watching film, from every aspect of it, putting it in, not just driving. Driving is such a little part of being able to win races. It's non-stop working on these things, and whenever all the hard work finally pays off and you have not only a race, because a race you forget, a champion is remembered, and that's what goes down in the books, not who won a race here at this track, it's who won the 2016 champion, and now my name's finally in that book.
I couldn't do this and enjoy it as much if I knew Kyle didn't have the same passion for winning that I do. Being able to put 100% focus into Kyle's program, I think, helped from the owner perspective to help for championships, making sure that truck got to the finish line every race. All of that collectively was huge for us getting to the championship for 2016. To have Maxxis really supporting racing like they do, and then staying with teams like they do. And really, through the up and down years, that's the key. We've kind of go way back, and 9 or 10 years now. I think I'm one of the longest guys at Maxxis now.
They hopped on board when I was still in the trophy carts, and I hadn't won any races. I hadn't proved myself yet, but they took the chance with me to take me under their wing and bring me up, knowing that necessarily they're not going to get the wins and podiums and championships right now, but hopefully they can help to groom me into the driver that I've become today. And I hope that they feel that I've paid them back as much as I appreciate all the support, and we got them some wins and now a championship.
They made you feel like family. It made you feel like you were part of the Maxxis company. You know what I mean? You weren't just a sponsored guy. They were writing a check or giving tires or however it was. They were really personal with you, and that really drew me to them. We've been with Maxxis for quite a few years now, and multiple championships. I think we got them their first Pro 4 win and their first championship, and first cup race championship and everything. So it's just awesome, and they're always trying to improve.
They put a consistent tire under us every weekend, and we knew day in and day out what the tire was going to feel like every weekend. We knew exactly what the truck was going to do on that tire and what we had to do to make it work. And we got 6 championships, all on Maxxis tires, so they're obviously doing what they need to do.
It's such an important part of off-road racing is your tire and the toughness of that tire and getting you to those podiums every weekend, and that's what wins championships.
The overall future for off-road, it looks really good with the young talent coming up with CJ and Kyle Hart and Keegan Kincaid, and now with the young kids in karts, and we finally have a stepping stone of young guys coming up.
The sport of off-road racing needs that in it.
At the end of the day, you want to be the guy that when everybody shows up to the racetrack, I want everybody to say, this weekend I know I have to beat Kyle Hart. And to be able to get that name, you have to go and prove yourself and win races and be the fastest guy, and I'm not going to quit until I'm there.
Championships don't come easy, and we put a lot of work into them, but we won Pro 2 now 3 years in a row and Pro 4 2 years in a row, our first 2 years out. And it's definitely a cool thing to have on your resume and this and that, but it's not going to change my outlook on it. I mean, in the off season, I'm not looking at it like I was a champion, I don't have anything to work on. When that final race is over and that night is done, you are the champion for that day. After that, 2017 starts. So from there on out, it's a clean slate, and to me, it's determination to go do it again. What I got to do to make myself better the next year to be able to do it one more time.
You say I'm just like Daddy was when he was my age. He was reckless and wild back in the day. It's a family reputation I'll never live down.